Thanks for making a date and welcome back to the marketplace. The Bank of Ghana would soon issue another fresh set of banking regulations to help strengthen the banking sector. Second Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Elsie Awazi, disclosed this at the Graphic Business Tambik Breakfast Series here in Accra. There's more in this report.
The meeting brought together bankers, players in the financial sector, regulators and some financial institutions to deliberate on how to deal with some of the challenges that has hit the banking sector and also best ways to deal with liquidity and solvency issues. According to the Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awaji, these new set of laws should give fresh assurance to depositors that the regulator is committed to stabilizing the banking sector.
You license banks, you give them conditions on which they operate. You give them rules to operate with. They take money, they operate under the law as a regulator. That allows you to take different actions at different times with the banks, with their shareholders, with directors, with managers to ensure that they recover from their ailment, whether it's a cold, whether it's a flu, whatever it is. Okay? So that is something that we do every day. And it may be that a bank suffers an ailment at one time or the other. Strong regulation, strong supervision helps banks recover because you tell them what to do to straighten up.
On the minimum capital requirements, Madam Awaji said most of the banks are making some significant progress in meeting the new levels.
Really, they're doing very well. You've already heard a number of banks already announce that they've met the requirement, or they're very close to meeting the requirement. And at Bank of Ghana, we have the banks come talk to us all the time. We'll meet this requirement by themselves on the strength of their balance sheet, or by injecting new capital, or inviting new investors, or by merging. And we know that all of these options are being explored very actively by the banks. And so we actually have no concern at all.
The Second Deputy also noted that a lot of progress is being made to deal with the challenges at Unibank after it was put under administration.
It's under official administration, yes, with KPMG acting as official administrators. As supervisors, we were getting regular returns from this institution, and we were also conducting an on-site examination. But with the bank and the private management, it's difficult to get all the information you need. With KPMG in there, we get access to all the information that we need in terms of the state of affairs. That work is ongoing. That's very quickly leading, it's been 2 months, 6 weeks actually. That's very quickly leading into an assessment of the options for restructuring the bank based on where things are. And there are various options open to us, all of which are provided for under the Banks and Special Deposit Taking Institutions Act. And with more clarity in terms of where things are, we will be able to come up with a plan of action.
There was also talk about another set of regulations to improve Credit Reference Bureau.
Meanwhile, senior partner at the PwC, Vish Ashiagbo, has dismissed the notion that the new minimum capital requirement will solve the challenges in the banking sector. According to him, the 400 million cedis is just a fraction of the level of challenges the Bank of Ghana is trying to deal with.
I think you can ever say that you've arrived. I think the objective of the capitalization exercise, like Kwame and Deputy Governor said, is to strengthen the bank so that they are in a better position to absorb any shocks that arise. But of course, in the normal course of trading, you will make some losses. The challenge going forward, irrespective of how much capital you may have, is to manage the risk so that you can limit those losses. So even if we get to 400 million, and by the way, the 400 million is the minimum. In other words, you may require a little bit more than that, depending on what type of business you're doing. It is possible that you lose some of that capital, depending on what happens and depending on how you manage your own risk. So I don't think we can say that come 1st January 2019, we would have arrived. I think we would hopefully see a stronger banking system, But with that, we should also remain conscious of the risks that remain, some of which are market risks and not internal to the bank specifically. So those issues will remain. It's just that the banks should hopefully be in a stronger position to mitigate those risks or to absorb whatever shocks come from risks. But the issues Deputy Governor spoke about in terms of governance, in terms of operational risks, those will still be there, and those will continue to need to be addressed.
Away from that, the minimum capital requirement for all players in the capital market is set to witness some significant increase this year. According to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the new levels would be from 1 million to about 10 million Ghana cedis. Unlike the banking sector, where there is the same amount for all players, the capital market would, however, have different levels depending on their risks. Paul Abebio is Deputy Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Current laws, the minimum capital for coming into the business is 100,000 cedis. That's about $20,000. It's not much, but the law has it there. So if somebody approaches us, fine, we'll do our checks. But if they meet those checks, we have to give them their license. So one of the things we've done when we came into office right away was to develop frameworks to enhance that. We've circulated it to some of our market operators. Actually, it's available on our website. The draft is available on our website. Some minor changes will be made before it goes live, but we also have to engage. We've engaged in a few of our other stakeholders, but we are looking at increasing that substantially. There will be additional investments. For instance, when you have 100,000 in capital, how much can you buy in IT? Right? Is that enough to resource your team adequately? Is that enough to pay salaries for 1 year or for 6 months? Barely, if you ask me. So then the question becomes, what are the operations? And if your framework or your regulatory framework has that backdrop, as a regulator, you're actually constrained because people say, this is what you allowed me to do, and I'm allowed to operate like this for as long as I can. And so what we look at is reforming the regulatory framework to put in place measures where you have stronger operators, you have frameworks where they themselves can also come on the market. If they need to raise capital, they should be able to come on the market and raise capital with a stronger business model. So in a sense, we are doing a bit of streamlining of the industry.
That will bring about some confidence. I knew you sent the circular out. You have taken the industry input. You are clearing with other critical stakeholders like the Finance Ministry and other ways. So initial proposal was like from 100,000 to 5 million Ghana cedis. I understand that that has been reviewed a little bit downwards. What figure are we looking at here?
When that is ready, it's in between 5 million and 1 million. But we'll also look at the sizing of operations. We'll look at now we are differentiating. At first it was 100,000 across board, irrespective of the business you're in. Now we're going to differentiate by the business you're in. We'll tag your requirements according to that. And so it's going to be, should we say, risk-based supervisory model. Exactly. So
meanwhile, some capital market players have welcomed the regulator's action, insisting it would revive confidence in the sector. Speaking to Joy Business after the launch of Dusk Capital's flagship PR campaign under the theme Conquer Your Fears, Chief Executive of the investment banking firm, Bernard Osei Tutu, said the punitive action of the regulator would instill some sanity in the industry.
According to a release from the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, a total number of 10 investment firms are currently under investigation for numerous complaints leveled against them on violation of the provision of the Securities Industry Act 2016, Act 929. The companies include Western Capital Limited, Brooks Asset Management Limited, Met Capital Group Limited, among others. However, it looks like some players in the capital market are in favor of the Commission's latest move to blacklist the said companies. Here is Chief Executive of Dusk Capital Limited, Bernard Osei Tutu.
The regulatory body have had a lot of bashing in the past. They are mandated by law to do certain things, and the law gives them that power to do what they are doing now. I think it's just fair that we need to support them at this material moment to say that, okay, continue to do what you are doing and make sure that you bring those who are not following the right procedure to the book. And that's exactly what they are doing. So we need to support them. I think what they are doing is fantastic, so that if you even have an intention of going to put your money there, now they've been a red flag. So you need to think of it again. So I think that's exactly what they are doing.
Mr. Osei Tutu spoke to Joy Business after the launch of his outfit's flagship PR campaign. He commented on the theme of the campaign, Conquer Your Fears.
Why conquer your fear? Conquer your fear because in the 2 days, months, I must say, we've all known what's happening in the financial market. Today we wake up, every day we wake up with the news of either a collapse or a takeover by BOG of one bank here or the other. So in the populace, there is that fear of what will happen next. So everybody is now adamant of saying, I don't know what to do again. So nobody wants to invest again. So we talk about what is going on, and like this is the right time to start such a campaign. That yes, in as much as there are issues and there are difficult moments, we still think that there's a lot of ways that we can still do and still invest.
The Das Capital Board says the company is ready to commit all resources to meet an increase in capital requirement for the industry. Bismarck Awusa, Joy Business.
Local pharmaceutical company Intravenous Infusions managed a 55% growth in revenue last year, but its operations are being hindered by delays in payments for drugs and equipment supplied to hospitals and other medical facilities. Managing Director David Klute says the challenge is impacting growth of the company.
The NHIA is the biggest social intervention this country has seen. It affects children all the way to the grandparents. So it's in terms of scope, it's quite wide because everybody at different ages go to hospital. Our products go into hospitals only, right? 99% of our products go into the hospital environment or end up in the hospital environment where it is administered. When we sell, the reimbursement comes through the NHIA to the hospital to the hospital to us directly, or to the regional medical stores, which then comes to us. Where there's a delay in receiving money from the National Health Insurance to the hospital, then that affects us. So as we speak now, there has been some delays in payments to us, and it's ranging up to about a year in some regions, which means that we have to find the finance to keep the factory going. Right, and it becomes more expensive for us because I've got money which the government owes me, but I still got money. I have to go and borrow money to do because I'm not getting my receivables. So we did put some strategies in place, but we can't constantly rely on going to the bank or suppliers. We must make a positive headway in collecting the monies that are owed to the company, because the money is not coming to us. Actually impacts on the growth of the company, right? There are lots of young men and women out there who need jobs, but if I have some of those monies, if I had my monies, I could expand the factory, because the demand is not a problem. It's the infrastructure to keep up with the supply is the problem. The money to keep up with the infrastructure to do the supply is a problem. So not having the monies owed us is a problem, not only for my company, but for the whole sector, the whole industry.
And we're talking about how much?
We have over 10 million owed to us. Some of it is going back to upwards of 6 months to a year.
It's all live on the marketplace. Let's now cross over to the regions for some business stories. And basic school students could soon be learning entrepreneurship as part of their educational curricula. Minister for Business Development Mohammed Awal said discussions are ongoing with Ghana Education Service for the introduction of the subjects at the basic level. He spoke with Love Business at the Stakeholder Forum in Kumasi.
One of our work is to introduce entrepreneurship to Ghanaians at the very basic level. You see, if we start entrepreneurship education to people at the GSS, SS level, they grow up with that mentality that they not only go to school to go and look at government for job, but that they can be job owners. We want to help them develop entrepreneurship culture among Ghanaians. That's on the central education. With the Ministry of Education, we start from GSS, SS, and above. So I make Ghanaians be conscious that they can also have their own businesses. Not
is it going to be a course, or how is it going to be?
We are developing the model to Ministry of Education. You know, the schools is under the Ministry of Education. We'll help develop the content. It could be clubs, it could be also a course, but I think that it will be a course ultimately. But the Ministry of Education will lead that. We are making it the Ministry of Education will lead that program. Ultimately, it will be part of the curriculum of Ghana Education Service.
And in the Upper West region, Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo has commended entrepreneur and chief executive of the yet-to-be-commissioned Royal Cozy Hill Hotel for his decision to invest in the region. She was of the view that the construction of the hotel will generate employment opportunities for the youth in the area. Over 300 people are currently employed and are working to complete the magnificent facility, which is almost 90% complete. Rafiq Salam reports from Jirapa.
Wondering why anybody will put such a magnificent state-of-the-art edifice in a place located in an outskirts of a rural setting where the people have little knowledge and importance of the hospitality industry, Chief Executive of the yet-to-be-completed Royal Cozy Hill Hotel, better known as Jiruba Dubai, Eric Johnson, explained to the Chief Justice, Sophia Akuffo, his motive.
I was going to look down the whole of Upper West and look at some of their natural resources. Then I can develop them and then use these to pull people to come. When you come in for a safari, then you go in to visit we have the mushroom drops here. And the whole world, if you go to that's where it is found. People can go and look at it. They can go and see where Kwame Nkrumah was detained in Laura. And from there, Ermon has 3 crocodile ponds. Go to Bodu, their crocodiles are so friendly. Then they have the slave trade defense wall. You can look at it. The notorious, what do we call it? Babati, who used market is there. Sakara. Yes, it's there. And then we have the market. They put in the cave.
So, Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo had lunch at the Executive Mansion as part of a 3-day tour of the region. She used the opportunity to go around and talk about giant beautiful edifice. It comprised of an executive mansion, a conference room that can accommodate over 500 persons, a wildlife animal ranch, and a water bottling plant. Eric Johnson said, with such a facility, it will open lots of opportunities for the people in the region.
So we are sitting on gold mine, and every time we are worrying government help us. And this is what I wanted to get the 11 BC so that we sit down. I have this property. I can use it to guarantee for us to get some loans for the government to support so that we can come and develop the place, develop the tourist center. So that at least that will bring some revenue. Because now we don't have much in this country. Cocoa and other things, but let us develop the tourist center. Absolutely. Look at these black Americans. When they come to Cape Coast, they just come in there and cry. They don't know where they come from. But if we bring them to the north here, then they will come and see.
Chief Justice Sophia Akuffo was happy with the architecture of the facility and commended the Chief Executive Officer for putting up such a magnificent building in the region, which she believes will inure to the benefit of the people.
Because whenever I'm on the road, I'm looking at the land, the vastness of it. There's so much. So it's good to have somebody like you in charge and having people like this so supportive. So God bless you.
Reporting for Joy Business, Rafiq Salam, Jiruba.
And back here in Accra, some textile traders are accusing manufacturers within the local print industry of being responsible for the influx of counterfeit prints on the Ghanaian market. They claim the local industry has failed to produce prints of lower grades for the ordinary Ghanaian. The result is the taste and preference for cheaper imported products from other parts of the world.
ATL and Printex are the 3 local textile manufacturing companies serving the Ghanaian market and other parts of Africa, with products such as the New Style, Instruma, Adipa from the GTP brand, and ATL, ABC, and Inspiration by the Kosombo Textile Limited. These products aim to give consumers preference and taste. But it appears this is not enough. There is high taste for imported counterfeited brands. According to some traders, the local manufacturer seems to have forgotten the ordinary Ghanaian when it comes to their brands.
First, 8 years of prior Niama. So, now, in Yamano, almost supply, no, you were high. 1, 2, 3. But mrebe druye no, womo yi nkitinkiti ne nyina afiri ho. Say womo ye akasifo akasi no, womo na ye ma womo na womo supply niama. Nti ye no ma asabi bia obekwa obetumi afa no kakra usu ne odie no. Womo yi afiri mu. Nti afa no ye nya niama no mfiri 8 year. Nti aba ni say ye di high target aba na misika betumi ato high target a.
Elizabeth, who has been selling local prints for over 50 years, says the local sector should bear the blame for their woes.
If it's in 1972, me auntie di me free kwasi ba ye starting to mano. Ye tom Holland no, GTP ho, enkitwa ho.
For others, the local brands are not inspiring when it comes to colors.
GTP colors ne wo from Holland dey toto. Enye kura Holland dey enye fe kura GTP no enu dey
Marketing Director of GTP, Stephen Bedu, says products such as the new style was introduced with a new generation in mind.
This complaint used to be very, very rampant in the past, and it was because of the nature of the technology we were using, all right, which did not permit or allow for such bright colors. Over time, we have also invested in new technologies. So we run, call it dual technology as we speak today. There are those who do not want such bright colors, so we offer that market. There are those who want very, very bright colors. We do have that.
Currently, 2 imported brands, High Target and Binta, are the most sought after on the local market. According to the local textile industry, Ghanaian textiles accounts for only 30% of what is available on the market. And it well appears if the situation remains same, not only will local manufacturers face stiffer competition on the market, but also lose their exclusive designs to pirated brands.
And on that note, we draw the curtains down on this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. Thank you so much for making a date. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. You have to join me again same time tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.